Hello, everybody. I'm meteorologist Hutch Johnson, and I appreciate you watching me. Taking a look at our weather, we have some of the coldest air of the season thus far that's going to be punching its way in after a brief warm-up in the northern plains. We're going to take a look at the impacts of this very cold Arctic air mass setting up shop in the central plains of the United States. What that does to our storm track means the deep south could see more wintry weather yet. Details are coming up next. You're watching Hutch's Weather.
Now, a Hutch's Weather Update with Chief Meteorologist Hutch Johnson, brought to you by Robert Gibb and Sons.
Thanks again to you for watching, and if you do like what you see here, I encourage you to hit the old subscribe button right here on YouTube. And also, if you're watching on Facebook, hit the follow button. Drop a comment, let me know where you're watching from and what you think about this winter so far. It's been a busy one in the deep south, and here in the northern plains, it's been very cold. Taking a look at the national radar today, very quiet along the western one half of the United States. The deep south, down near Brownsville, Texas, and offshore into the Gulf, we have a few rumbles of thunder showing up. And again, lake effect snow impacting portions of Ohio, not far from Cleveland, and off in towards north and upstate portions of New York. But that really is about it. Nothing too impressive on the radar at this particular time. Now, we do have very brutal and cold air in place in the Dakotas and northern Minnesota right now. We'll go ahead and put up a look at these temperatures right now as I dip down here to take a look. And here's a look at the air temperatures. Now, these are air temperatures. You can see the blue line here. That's the freezing air right here in central Missouri, Kentucky, all the way out to the mid-Atlantic states here for parts of Virginia. Now, as we take a look out to the East Coast, it's in the teens and 20s in upstate New York. And as we look out, the cold air is nuzzled up at the front range of the Rocky Mountains here, as is often the case. This cold, dense, shallow air mass has temperatures that are in the teens below zero right now as we zoom in here momentarily. Really too shallow to make its way over the top of the slopes of the Rocky Mountains. So that's what settles that into place. Now let's go ahead and zoom in just a bit here and take you into the northern plains where things have been just ridiculous with regards to the cold that's taken hold. It's 8 below zero for an air temperature in Brandon, Manitoba. We have made it to zero in places like Fargo and in Grand Forks. It is now 0 degrees as well on the shores of the big lake, Lake of the Woods, 0 degrees for Warroad, Minnesota. Minneapolis, St. Paul, temperatures there are generally on the cool side with 7 degrees at this hour. This cold air now, when we factor in the winds that have been out there throughout the day, it has a feels like temperature that is biting. So let's take a look at those wind chills currently across much of the northern plains. Feels like 15 to 20 degrees below in the Red River Valley of portions of the Dakotas right now. And as we take you up just a little bit farther to the north, we have a Winnipeg wind chill value right now of 21 degrees below zero, and that's on the Fahrenheit scale. So what is the forecast as this cold takes hold? This batch of cold air is on its way out. We have a warm up in the northern plains and for much of the nation, but some unsettled weather ahead. And to take a look at what this means, hi BA, good to have you watching. Thanks so very much. Kathy, thanks for joining on as well. Let me know where you're watching from or if you do have any questions at all. And if you're watching on that YouTube channel, let me check and see what we got going on there as far as any feedback from all of you. Thanks for watching, Jody. It looks like from Bismarck, have any snow in our forecast. You know, no big snow systems yet for the northern plains, but as you see here, just a couple of minutes, there is a chance here as we go into the latter portion of the forecast. David, does look like good afternoon, he says. Mornings have been around 28 in Tucson. My goodness, that is really cold. Gonna be visiting Arizona myself sometime in the near future. But by and large, here's a look at our forecast, and let's start with a look at that European model to show the trend of the storm track and the cold air. Now, as we have that cold air in place right now in the northern plains, temperatures tonight are going to once again be brutally cold early. Then we'll start to see a nice little warm up here, but it won't last for long. It's like a fool's gold is fool's gold. We have a fool's warm up here, and it is not going to last long. All right, let's take a look at the overall picture of the storm track here as we go through the next period of time. And now, what you're going to notice here, the quiet weather doesn't last for long. And this high pressure system here, it is the center of a cold air mass. Now look at this number up above. I'll take a look at it for you. It's 1038. 1,038 millibars is the highest pressure in the center of this high pressure system. This tells you cold, dense air, that pressure tends to be higher. And when we get the coldest of the air, this number can really rise. Let me show you what's coming our way. First and foremost, let's set this into motion. And as we carry this out, we're going to see quiet weather continue, high pressure ruling the roost across most of the nation. One storm track up in parts of central and southern parts of Canada will keep basically some low pressure systems swirling out of the Aleutian Island chain and across portions of the central prairies of Canada. Very quiet here with some rain that's persistent off the Gulf Coast states as we go through your Wednesday. And then a little dash of snow once again, thanks to a northwest and westerly flow across the Great Lakes. We're going to set up shop with a few more days or hours at least of the lake effect snow. Here comes a Alberta Clipper type system rolling off the Aleutian chain, developing out there near Calgary and Regina, and it will also slide across the prairie. So the coldest of that high pressure system shifting off to the east by Friday. That means a very nice warm bubble of air here, as illustrated by these red lines, working its way through the western one half of the United States, including a nice warm up in the western Dakotas, and even a warm up here in the eastern Dakotas as well. Notice the isobars, more of them, more wind coming out of the west, bringing that warmer flow down the slopes of the Rocky Mountains. And in eastern Montana and western North Dakota and South Dakota especially, we'll see a nice warm up as a result of that. Behind this little clipper system here, watch what happens. There's cold air that's pooling up here, and that's going to make its way down on those north winds. So as I set this into motion slowly, you're going to see a cold high pressure core developing right here. Now, if you pay attention to the numbers, the pressure on this system, 1055 millibars. This is one cold, very dense, high pressure system that's going to slide along the eastern slopes of the Rocky Mountains and settle into Montana, Wyoming. The Dakotas into Minnesota will see the coldest air of the season. It's diving all the way south once again. Look out, Tucson. Here comes our next low pressure system developing, and watch what this one does now. When we get a cold air mass that sets up shop in the central and northern plains, the storm track for the southern United States tends to be locked up. And what that means is we're going to see the potential for yet another icy storm system working its way early next week, Tuesday. It begins as rain in the Gulf and along the coast. Quickly transitioning to some freezing rain and sleet with snow through portions of southern Texas, eastern Texas, and northern Louisiana, the potential there. Now, as this system continues to skirt its way across, look at it spread the icing all the way into southern Georgia, northern Florida. A lot of heavy rain with this system as well, and bands of heavy snow, as illustrated here, will be potentially possible as we go into your Wednesday morning. This extends all the way from northern Louisiana, the southern reaches of Arkansas, believe it or not, right into portions of Carolina, Virginia, as well as icing taking place in all of our southeastern states, potentially. That system races off the mid-Atlantic coast, and it's out of here as that cold high-pressure system digs air that is brutally cold all the way down to the Gulf Coast states once again. Now, unsettled weather, well, we start warming up a bit in the south. That's going to shift the storm track a little bit farther north for this next round of systems coming off of the Rockies, and the models show that change in the track of our average storm tracks just a little bit. So let's take a look on this same model here, and we're going to pull up the temperatures here to show you some of the fine facts with regards to this first blob. Look at the cool pool of air, right here. It's a purple blob of nonsense with actual air temperatures between 5 and 25 below zero. That slips off into the northern Great Lakes and then slides off into Maine, New Hampshire, Connecticut, all the way up into upstate New York as well, with some sub-zero readings there. A big-time warm-up in the northern plains, though, but watch the pool of purple forming up to the north. Oh no, here it comes. It's rocking its way through all of western and central Canada. Actual air temperatures here dipping with that 1060 high pressure system that will set up shop in Wyoming as we go into our early next week time frame. These blue temperatures, that's freezing air on Monday as we head towards Monday morning. It's going to be freezing or close to it in northern Florida, southern Georgia, all the way out into central Texas. But this cold air mass is not done. These are air temperatures here, 20 to 30 below up to the north. Here it is, setting up shop in Wyoming. Look at the cold air, well below freezing, all the way into the Gulf of Mexico, all the way through Florida. This is going to be a tricky system, and it's going to bring some real threats to the deep south. With that storm tracking along this leading edge and off the mid-Atlantic states, some icy travel is once again likely as we go through. All right, let's take a look at your questions, and let's talk a little bit about what's going on when we do get this cold air here in the northern plains. We got some dandy types of signs that we can take a look at, and so many of you have uploaded photos to my website, hutchesweather.com, a great place to upload your photos. Now, we've seen plenty of halos around the moon, sun, but we've also seen them around the moon. The moon glow is just absolutely stunning. Here's a couple of photos that have been uploaded of late. Let me take a look at these. If you don't get to see these often, when you see a sundog. You'll see the sun in the center of the image here. Tiffany, thanks for uploading this view right here. Now, take a look to the left of the sun. You see that bright thing? That's called a sundog, and it follows the sun as it's setting or rising in the sky. Not only one, but we got two of them. And these are caused by the ice crystals in this cloud that's painted across the skies of the upper atmosphere. And we can sometimes get a nice shooting a sun pillar from the sun as it even goes down below the horizon. A beautiful scene to see as well. Tiffany, thank you so very much for sharing your photo. Now at night, that sundog can become moondogs out there. And just look at this, Twin Valley, Minnesota, more moondogs. Look at this unbelievable scene right here. There's the bright moon, and it's just past full, right? As we take a look at here, we've got a moondog on the left, a moondog on the right, and a upper tangential arc up here. Just a stunning amount of scenery here in the northern plains as a result. Do you have pictures like this from your area? And if you see it down south, that's what it is. Ice crystals that are not there every day, causing some deflection of the sunlight as it passes through those crystals thanks to the hexagonal shape. All right, somebody's watching from NATO Watch. It's good to see you, Cheryl. Thank you very much for watching. Now let's take a look at your questions and see if I have any answers for you, or just more nonsense for the winter weather. I'll go ahead and also go through the Fargo forecast here in just 1 minute, but again, any questions are certainly welcome. Let's look way out in the future, shall we? This is Hutch's long-range look, and to do this, we're using a model that I don't want you to put a lot of weight in, but what we're looking for is those trends. Like I was just explaining about the shift from the storm track from the deep south back into the central plains as we go into the latter part of next week. Check this out now as we go ahead and take a look at the what we call the climate forecast system. This system here will go out for many, many days. But again, the farther out in time we go, the lower confidence we typically have in these. But they can, if we watch them over a period of time, show us some trends that are worthy of watching. So now, what we're going to watch for here is a very quiet pattern that shifts. Here's the cold air mass heading into the northeast and New England states as we go toward the close of this week. Yet another clipper system, but it stays pretty much north, impacting Minnesota off into the Great Lakes again with some lake effect snow. Very quiet in the south. In fact, a nice warm-up taking place here, but it will not last. Behind this Alberta clipper, north winds are going to just poke in some seriously cold air, and here it comes diving way down south into the Gulf of Mexico. And here comes our low pressure system developing in the Colorado Rockies, exiting through the portions of Texas, Louisiana, and the south. So this model confirming that as we go into the middle of next week, Tuesday, Wednesday, even Monday night for some unsettled weather. Now that active track will continue as long as this cold, dense air mass stays in place. Very cold Arctic air as it moves south gets more and more hours of sunlight as it moves south, and it also has more potent sun energy. So these air masses modify a lot quicker down south than they do up north. It's going to be a brutally cold week of weather as we go into next week in the northern plains. Now, here comes another system out of the Pacific Northwest, but note the track this one's taking. A little bit farther to the south, possibly bringing a chance of snow for you in that Bismarck area and parts of central North Dakota, northern Minnesota, northern Wisconsin. By the way, Fargo sitting at 12.5 inches of snow for the season. Typically, we're at over 24 inches by this time of the year, and on our way to an average seasonal snowfall total of around 52 inches. So we have a long ways to go. Typically, the atmosphere does a pretty good job of being a little bit closer to average than where we sit right now. Let's keep that in mind. Now, another storm track here as we close in on the 28th of the month of January. And look at this, very similar look. It's just a little bit farther north track of this. Another Central Plains winter weather event could be in store for us as we close out the month of January. What does this tell us? It's a cold month ahead. And it does look like we'll have some warm-ups in a few places at times, but this winter weather is going to hit the deep south, central plains, southern plains, mid-Atlantic states, and the cold is going to take hold through all of the northern plains, the upper Midwest, the central Rockies, on into the central plain states as well, with some of the coldest air of the season thus far. Here's a look at your forecast if you're watching from Fargo. Hello, everybody. Thanks for watching, and thanks again for uploading your photos. Now, let's talk shop here just a little bit about our forecast, shall we? And again, if you have any comments, I'm going to go ahead and sneak down here and see if I can check them out. Okay, thanks again so much for watching. Let's see here. Oh yeah, we've got quite a few comments here. A lot of cold out there. How about Plus 27 in Alaska, says Keith. Yep, indeed. When we get this cold, sometimes that pattern shift causes south flow and a nice warm up in places like Anchorage and sometimes Juneau as well. All right. Hi, Barbara. Good to have you on board. Brad, thanks for watching. And again, we're talking about some beautiful, beautiful weather, sunlight. You judged a book by its cover. It looks pretty good out there. Sam says, watching from Pelican Rapids. Thanks for watching, Sam. You're the most goodest. All right, let's take a look at your forecast here. This is my shiver face right here, and it's going to be another cold one out here as we start your day. Again, temperatures in the morning here are going to be quite chilly, but look at this. This is Tuesday morning. We're looking for Wednesday, so I think I need to update a couple of these graphics here. So pardon me while I go ahead and see what's going on. I think I loaded those up and changed them on my other computer, but I don't think they got updated here. So let me go and hit the refresh button and see what we got. It looks like I'll have to get back to you on that 7-day planner. I am expecting temperatures in the early overnight tonight in the Fargo area to dip down mighty cold. We do have lake effect snow warnings in places like Erie, Pennsylvania, upstate New York, and also some winter weather advisories as we have some deep time cold heading into the Virginias area. Washington, D.C., Maryland, all under a cold air advisory there as we get ready for our next batch of wintry weather. Let me just double check my work here because I know that I did these graphics, but it doesn't look like the network transferred them over. So my apologies to you. All I can tell you is we're going to have 2 days of warmth here as we go through the next couple of days with highs near 30 degrees in the Fargo-Moorhead area. Tomorrow, it starts out cold, but will be rising by morning. We dip down below zero in the early overnight hours, and then after about 3 a.m., it starts going up. Rise and shine temperatures 5 degrees in Fargo, a little bit cooler off to the east. Now, the warm front that's moving through tomorrow that begins that warming trend will bring some flakes of snow. The best chance of that will be along the international border. And since I can't show you my graphics there, I will show you the hour-by-hour forecast. Not every model is showing this, but Hutch knows through a lot of different warm-ups that we've seen here in the Northern Plains that those come with growing pains, and that's exactly what's going to happen. And even as we're warming up, the winds will be strong enough from the south, 30 miles per hour. We're going to have blowing snow and slippery roads. Keep that in mind. Okay, here's a look at the Northern Plains. You're looking at Minnesota, North Dakota, and South Dakota as this cold high pressure system will be vacating the area. Let me go back to a model that will get us a little bit closer to the time frame I'm looking for. Okay, here we go. So as we go through the overnight hours tonight, I anticipate these temperatures here to drop very quickly. But as the high pressure system dives to our south and vacates the region, we start seeing a southerly flow. The southerly flow will begin to warm up before morning here in the valley, Red River Valley, and parts of the Missouri River Valley as well, as that warm air bustles in. But it's going to be wind chilly in the morning at the bus stop, with some areas with wind chills down in the 5 to 15 below category once again, but nowhere near the wind chills that we've seen. Here comes some warm air. See the red line out here from eastern Montana? As that punches in, there will be a band of clouds along this warm front. You can see the leading edge here. Now, this model says not so much, mainly up in Canada. That's where the best chance will be, a little bit closer to the circulation of low pressure up to the north. But I do think the warm air rising over the top of this Arctic dome we have in place will yield some clouds at the very least, with some morning showers of snow passing through. Again, that's the morning time frame, and there come your showers of snow passing through the midday time frame. So that's it. A little bit of a push of air that will initiate some showers. Look at that, some freezing spits out through parts of central and western South Dakota. Now our wind becomes westerly as we go into the late hours. The gusts will be over 30 miles per hour, so temperatures will be boosting on their way up. We're going to scrub out this cold molasses out of the valley and things will be pretty nice. Heading into Thursday, though, we have big time changes on the way as that next cold air begins to push its way in. So we do have 2 days with temperatures that'll be very pleasant and on their way up, and then a double slap, a double cold front making its way through on Friday. That brings the big change we've been talking about. And actually, we will have the coldest air of the season in Fargo, North Dakota, Grand Forks, North Dakota, and much of northern Minnesota as well, as we will see air temperatures challenging 20 to 40 below for air temperatures. Wind chills could exceed 50 below zero by next Monday, so keep that in mind. I'll have an update coming up here in a bit, but for now, I'm meteorologist Hutch Johnson. I again appreciate all of you who click the follow button to follow me here on Facebook. Subscribe on YouTube. And again, hutchesweather.com for the latest. I have a big announcement coming, by the way, for you folks watching. Hutchesweather.com, big announcement. We've got another weather kid to announce I get all kinds of help with the weather, right? Who doesn't need help? Hutch needs help, all the help he can get. And, well, Your students do a great job helping me with the weather. If you're interested in signing up to be a weather kid, if you have a student ages 9 to 18, they can sign up to be a Hutch's weather kid. You can also head into my sponsors, Luther Family Ford in South Fargo, and sign up there right at the showroom floor. All right, that's a look at your weather. I'm meteorologist Hutch Johnson. Thanks for watching. I'll check back in a little bit later. But for now, stay warm any way you can and expect even